the strategic networks. So as you look at this picture on the left, I'm just going to ask you, what kind of a room is pictured? And so as you thought about that, what I really want you now to look at is think about, what did you look at to figure that out? So a parlor, okay, I love that. Sitting room, parlor, okay. So now think about what you looked at, and can you just say in here what you looked at to figure that out? You know, what in the picture did you look at to figure out that it was a sitting room or parlor? So what alerted you to that? The piano, the table, the decorations, where you'd have music. It's an orderly room. Yep. The furniture and the clothing. Okay, great. So those were your strategic networks. You had a goal in mind. I asked you a question. To solve that question, you decided what you needed to look at. So that was the strategy you had to come up with that. And so now let's think about what you looked at. Now I'm going to ask you another question and see where you look. So what are the material circumstances of the family? So now you're probably looking at different areas of the picture. So that's the strategy. So what you see here is this picture was created by a man, was the artist. Jarvis. Thank you. Are you finding it? Because I'm not seeing it.
I think it's Jarvis, isn't it?
Jarvis, yes, okay. Yes. And he actually had figured out a way that he could track where people's eyes went when he was asking these questions. So he actually created this picture just to do this study, to see where people's eyes went and how they use those strategic networks. And so as you look over here on the left, you'll see all these graphs. And this is where people's eyes went when he asked them specific questions. And so the first one is, he just said, examine the picture freely. And you can kind of see their eyes just went all over the place. And then the next one was estimate the material circumstances of the family. So then you can kind of see where their eyes went. And the main thing, what I want you to see is that not where their eyes went, but that the patterns change based on the question he asked. And so he asked, assess the age of the characters, determine the activities of the family prior to the visitor's arrival, surmise how long the unexpected visitor had been away. And so you can see that each question he asked, they looked at different parts on the picture. And so that was the strategy they were doing without even thinking about it. They engaged their strategic networks to come to the goal that they needed. So that's your strategic networks. That's that how of learning. So that's just, you know, an example, so you can kind of get an idea of what that is. But
all right, so this relates to action and expression, how the student acts upon their learning and expresses what they are learning. And so we have the physical action and students needing to interact with accessible materials and tools. So have multiple ways in which they can express their learning, not just the one way of the pencil paper, but some different options for expressing their learning. And then thinking about expression and communication, having to compose and share ideas, using the tools that they have available to them. And then also executive functioning comes into play, which is being able to develop and act on plans to get the most out of their learning. So what we know is learners, learners differ in the way in which they navigate learning and navigate the learning environment. Students perhaps with a significant motor impairment, students with a learning disability, with dysgraphia, they're going to need perhaps different tools to then show their learning, and they approach learning in different ways. So that really gets to the heart of some of the things Linda's going to be sharing, is the ways in which they express and engage in their learning.